Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2. With the high-tech Protoss player in the blue, we have Classic. Up against the player ranked #1 in the world by Dark, the final boss. It's Dark. A best-of-5 Protoss versus Zerg finals, where we'll see whether Classic can climb the tech tree fast enough, or Dark Zerglings rip him down, and maul his fancy Protoss face-off. Either way, I expect good games for the fans, which is hopefully what you expect after you smash that like button. And if you haven't made it there yet, maybe subscribe. And Jimmy, what are... Finally? 1,365 likes on this video, on this cast. I'll cast another one. I'll probably do it anyways. And thank you for making my days just a little bit better. Very roughly a year ago, I said, if we get 1,000 likes on this video, which was quite a goal at the time, believe it or not, I'll cast another one. And then, using an old advanced game design proprietary technique, I said, what if the number went up? So, well, here we are. Thank you for my most successful year on YouTube by like a pretty large margin. And, no, you're not getting a raise. Sorry. And thank you for watching. I know begging for likes and subscribes might be a little, I'm gonna borrow a phrase, cringe, to be honest. But the results speak for themselves. Unlike the Protoss, who don't have mouths. You might be an oracle, because you probably saw that coming. Thank you for watching. Let's get started. Classic. Starting with the usual, a Twilight. No Forge on the way, so maybe a bit of spicy intentions. I've been in some more Adepts, though it does have a third base. So, nothing particularly untoward. And 2 gases at the natural indicate an intent on teching up a little more quickly. Oracles coming in towards the third. The Queens, not enough to stop the Oracles from gliding through and getting free drones. Slick micro so far. 4. Dodges it with the Spore. So 4 kills, and all it cost was most of the HP on 2 Oracles. But Glaved Adepts, 50 Shades with Glaves is the build. Wow, not a shady bunch, but instead, gonna go with the whole Shade army. The Eclipse build, if you would. I kind of like, I'm working title. It's been a while since the age and the time of Neeb, where really it's been a couple years since we've seen this sort of strategy on a regular basis. We've seen Hero mix it in, but it is still quite an exception rather than the rule, just because Roaches and Queens and Banelings are quite accomplished against it. Just usually doesn't have the sort of critical damage you need. But this is a big macro glaive. And yes, there is a Nidus network, so Dark is also going for an early 3-base, almost all-in timing. They're going to be smacking into each other, or at least shading through. Well, Dark sends out the Nidus. Classic sends out his Glaved Adept. Dark does not have a Roach Warden, but the Nidus is already on the way. The Adepts will complete their shade. And now things are gonna get weird. So the Queens... Brenda, where is everyone? This is... Well... We didn't think he'd actually do Adepts in this... in current year. I don't... Well, Shade's back. 7 drones down. Not particularly much damage to start, but Dark did not have much of an economy to start with. That's actually a really smart move. It feels weird to actually recall the Adepts without doing much damage when they don't have a Roach Horn, but yeah, having this sort of core of Adepts, he may have realized... Wait, did he see the Nidus? No. There's a weird... oh yeah, he did. Okay. Alright. I was wondering, like, kind of a weird decision to make if you don't see the Nidus or any other sort of move. But he saw it. Classic has... He just has 24 Adepts. Ah. They're like Zealots, but more expensive, fancier, and much more vulnerable to Roaches. But I'm pretty sure that amount of Adepts can just completely clog the watchtower area. He could probably jam them all the way behind a mineral line or two. This is the craziest army. And he throws the shade. Roaches are on the field now. Dark made a couple rounds of drones, but still lacking. 60 to 65 in total. Goes through the rocks. There's no way for him to get up. Yeah, there's no... the mineral wall has not been mined. And unless Dark decides to do it for him or Classic brings a probe, he's not going to be able to work with that. The adept count? Well, he's not adding any more. Dark doesn't have a baneling nest, which seems almost negligent at this point. Even if you don't think he's going to make another adept this game, it feels like having a few banelings would certainly be worth the cost, even if you don't invest in speed. Queens will tank the damage here. Speed, well, Roach speed is done. The stasis targets it down, knocks out one of the oracles, another stasis on the backline. Adept Shade completes into the third base. 8 drone kills. Wow, they died so fast. And the Adepts just jammed into the mineral line, where the Queens and the Roaches are struggling to get to. He didn't even shade! Dark, like, preemptively split his forces. Classic worked with the recall again. That one, he still gets a lot of the Adepts out of there. And he's bought the time for Storm. He's got charge, +1. He's setting up defenses at the 4th. Classic with a classic tactic. In every sense of the word. We'll now go into the solid mid-game with arguably an economic lead. He's got even workers, but he's got the 4th base on the way, and he's already got his infrastructure up. He's got Storm done. He's got his Twilight Council upgrades. He's getting a 2nd Robo. Dark, on the other hand, does not have a high. He's still building drones. Get off my creep! Oracle's dead, so going to want to rebuild that. Lurker Den is on the way, but look at the supply. 160 supply. It is incredibly rare against a Zerg who is on a comparable economy, especially a Zerg going for such a... Look at the army value over here. We got the Fisher-Price Zerg up against the Bugatti of Protoss. 3675 minerals and 600 gas for Dark. 4K 2.2 for Classic. So the supplies may be even, but these two things are not the same. Classic. Now the Adepts do not match the Roach Lang very well, but the Immortal Templar Charge Lot, you need more than what Dark has. Alright? Do you smell what Classic's cooking? The Ire Chef is here, and he's got a very spicy build indeed. The Adept's still finding value. All but like 8 drone kills. He's killed, I thought it was 95 for a second. He killed 20-something workers at the Adepts and kept total control of the map. And it's weird to see Dark getting run around the map like this. This is not how Dark... he usually is not subjugated. He's the subjugator. But in this case, there's no Ravagers. Classic with beautiful force fields. He pops, and the Queen's on the low ground. More force fields. Locks them in. The Storm's over the top. Onto the Ravagers as well. Only one pops out, but this battle feels like it's over before it really even began. Classic. Just dropping Storms left, right, and center. Hurricane season in full swing. The Templar able to merge another round of charge lots, and Dark is put down in game number 1 by Classic's immaculate control. The Adepts just keeping shade on everything. And Dark really never had an opportunity. Kind of a disregard for the Banelings and for the Ravagers, but it just looks so smooth. Adepts are always kind of a weird quantity to deal with, where trying to cover all your bases, the best defense against Adepts is a good offense. So part of that was that Classic was going for an early timing, and so was Dark. But the Glaved Adepts are one of the few things that deals with Queen Knights pretty well, because if they don't have Roaches, the Adepts, well, they're more than good enough. So, an odd one, but honestly, I feel like I learned something. I couldn't pinpoint it. It's like, Adepts still good. And relatively niche, but that doesn't mean they're used. Wait, Dark wins that. Unless the second probe comes down. Hey, that's not fair. We said no tag teams. He's gonna go for the gas geyser, but the probe gonna strongly disagree with it. Hold position to make sure he can't get the block off. And 2 hatcheries on the way. Dark does have gas. That was very, like, that was just perfect. The recall timing. That is one of my greatest pet peeves. Of so many to choose from. But the recall timings of Protoss. Recall is such a powerful ability. But it also has severe downsides. The cooldown, the cast time, the fact that you really do need to micro which nexus you're recalling back to, especially in stressful scenarios. But Classic there, using it to its fullest extent, making sure he's controlling the map, but not risking his units. For every time I see a Protoss player get into a bad spot and then a couple seconds later decide to recall and get only 1/3 of their units out, I lose a year off my life. So that means, well, this will be my last year of casting at this rate. Thank you for watching. Well, on that somber note, Adept, taking a lot of damage from the Zerglings, gets into the main. Queen will take it out with great vengeance. Probe, Citizens of Rust, takes down the drone. That's enough. Oracle on the way. So a typical star from here. But the nuance, the devil's in the details. Protoss versus Zerg is so figured out that little differences, like instead of going for blink, going for glaives, can have reverberating, or if you would, resonating consequences. More drones. Oracle. Won't abide by the creep tumors. Queens. Well, Oracle kills 1 drone. Takes a lot of damage. Dark. Ah, classic. That's how you set up the wall, by the way, Protoss. Adept didn't enjoy it, but perfect. I love the setup where you could actually put a gate behind instead of having to rely on a shield battery. Wow, Dark Zerglings are very angry. It's alright. It's alright. Grab your emotional support, Zergling, today. It's a bait. Well, I don't know if that was bait so much as not really caring too much, as he knows he doesn't have that many Zerglings, but he wouldn't do it again. Alright. Well, there goes another Oracle. Dark losing some extra drones, though. Preempting with some spores. He's just going glaives. Classic is desperately trying to keep... Oh my god. They're fools, these Protoss. Firstborn and first dead. Yeah, get him, Brenda. That was sick. Why do I feel like you don't mean that? Adept shade in. I like the decoy adepts here as well. One, they're doing a surprising amount of damage. And 2, sending in the adepts like this kind of masks the fact that there will be another follow-up. Wow, this control. He's so adept at. And now, well, it isn't a massive, like, 20-something adept wave. But it should be more than enough. Yeah, and here we go again. Whipping it out there. The shade's halfway across the map already. Glaive's done. Robo on the way, because this sort of strategy, it demands roaches. And even if it's just Ling Bang, oh, he goes for the hard wall. The Queens! I'm not locked in here with you. Well, neither of them do much damage to each other, at least physically. Emotionally is another story. More Adepts, shady across, dark rewalled, but the revolving umbrella of Adept Shade continues to find damage. Ah, this is PTSD, post-traumatic shade disorder here for Dark, as one of the most classic strategies indeed from many years of Legacy of the Void. Classic again, just like the drones are on the run. There's a probe here. That probe tasted drone blood. No, it's not the same one, but I choose to believe it was, in spirit. 6 more drones dead. And, like, it's not good. He's just sending more Adepts. The Queen's scrambling around. Is Roach Speed done? No, it's not even started. Well, there's Immortals and Sentries in production back at Hope for Classic, who now has more workers, compounded by even more Adepts that continue to shade by. That recall, oh my, he got 5 out of 6. And Dark lost track of the Overlords, and now they'll be tickled down. Okay, Beamers. That was, and he's oh, it's a disaster. Wow. It feels like instead of Dark adapting, Classic has refined the build. Obviously the situations are different, but he kept Dark busy, he sliced down the economy, and he's built up his tech, all well before Dark could do much more than nibble on a 4th base and delay it for maybe 30 seconds. +1's on the way. Classic. Does he have a Templar Archives? No, he's gonna go for the quick follow-up with Immortals and Sentry. Is this a proxy? Oh my god. There's a obviously always important to bring your battle probe, your emotional support probe. Not sure where mine went. Adepts, there's no wall here, but the Adepts the lack of Bane links is concerning and kind of surprising out of Dark. Roaches get across. There's a single Immortal warping in. Oh wait, he's warping in more Adepts. He actually walled in the Immortal there, hilariously. The probes are pulled into the fight. And Dark, the force field's locking he burrows the Queens. Dunking your head in the creep, though, is not going to solve the problem. But we'll create more problems on even the probes are coming back to kill these roaches. Force fields, not as good. Oh, with the, wow. The Queen Barrel. Pops out again, but the force field's on the other side. Walks up the ramp. He has the energy. And oh my god. Classic just dismantles Dark. This time around, hitting him harder and even faster. And I'm not... That one, I'm not even sure what went wrong for Dark. It's one of those that feels like the early damage spirals so quickly out of control, and Classic just... perfect control. Well, besides the Oracles were kind of sad. But... the Adept Micro was all there. Shades of Neeb, indeed. (2-0) Classic. Not exactly where I expected to be when we started things off, but I'm not even mad nor disappointed. Like, Classic is playing ridiculously well. Dark, what's the answer? Gonna do some mineral flirting here as they compete over the mineral patch. Playing hard to get. I wish the proxy hatch had come off. Though Classic also preempting that had the probe down before he needed the Nexus in order to stop exactly that. My God. The drone, the probe telling the minerals, hey, you're taken. And the minerals saying, oh, indeed. And then the drone saying, hey, he doesn't actually want to mine you. He's just pretending. To which the minerals say, wait, what do you mean? And then they just go back and forth on that for a while. Adam Sandler's new movie. To mine or not to mine? Be mine. The problem. Moving on. Talon Dark. Well, I've never called him his team Talon, which is objectively cool. I like that name. Talon Dark seems like it really does project this sort of aura. As well. I don't think I've talked about it much, but very cool for him. Them picking up, I believe they're a pretty high-level Counter-Strike, at least from what I understand. Counter-Strike or Valorant, which is like Counter-Strike for Zoomers. Isn't Counter-Strike for Zoomers? Fair enough. But here we are. Where was I? Oh yes, Adepts. He wouldn't do it again. But the thing is, Dark has not come up with even something... He had stopgaps, literally, in the form of a wall, but that was not nearly enough to really deal with this. I have no idea. It felt like Dark just no answer at all to the Glaive Adepts, just trying to go Ravager Ling and out multitask, but... Classic, getting too much done and building up momentum to the point where Dark had no answer. There's the Twilight and no Forge. The lack of Forge indicates he's likely doing it again, but he built a third Oracle. So maybe a different flavor, maybe charge lots this time. But either way, keeping Dark guessing and throwing him off just slightly is going to be the most important thing. Those gases, a bit on the later side. 430 or so. There is in production. And it just does it again! Just Glaive to Depths. Six drones dead to Oracles, by the way. A bit lackadaisical on those queens. Robo's already in production, so a different, like, he's making the same dish, but he's doing it with different, not different ingredients, but different proportions, I guess. As game one, he did that huge adept swell in order to force such a dramatic response. Game two was more of a trickle, and this game, I think, is going to be, probably closer to the first one. I mean, it's Oceanborn. The tide of Adepts will come in. It possibly will go out. You can't explain that. And classic. Adept Glaive's done. This is a middle ground timing, actually. This is like a lake. If the one was an ocean, the other was a river, this is a lake of Adepts. 14 of them. Stasis as well. This is... I love this follow-up. He's looking at the Adept Shades, and then the... Oh my god, he froze like a third of the economy, and now is isolating the roaches. Just kills a couple, set up the pylons beautifully to block out the Zerglings. He's playing with them. And he could use the stasis... He could use the stasis drop. He's gonna kill even more. A few probes died, but not nearly enough. Dark keeps walling it out. Will he recall out of this one? No, he can just get through. He just cuts through. Why not? Dark has nothing. My gabbers are plastic. right now. Flabbergasted? Wait. Oh, now I confused myself. Whatever, I think the first one was right. No matter how right or wrong it was. Now that recall was just sad. But another wave of Adepts is coming in towards the third. And Dark getting some whiplash here. 21 drones slaughtered. Classic maintains a supply lead. He's slapping down shield batteries. He's got more gates on the way. Gets a few Adepts caught. So there's a legitimate chance of counterattack here. This is not the army. The sentries. 2 immortals, though. And the force fields. And it ends up working out. That last force field closes the gap and allows the immortals to isolate the roaches. And Dark. And then the oracles come back. He kept the oracles alive. Oh, this isn't even in the same zip code as close. Where is Dark? Well, we can't see him because there's too much shade. The Adepts are chasing roaches, which is just against the laws of Protoss nature. And actually, they are going to die, but Dark is trying to re-drone, but he doesn't have enough units to reliably deal with a counter. I think this is the right move, which is just getting so absolutely obscenely greedy. You just have to say, like, I'm dead if he attacks. You gotta go up to like 60-something drones. And if Classic comes across the map too early, Dark will just die. But he has no choice. He's left with bad and worse. He can't attack this. Going up a ramp into these force fields, it's not going to work. So now, he's just building up. Thing is, Classic still has those oracles. I have not seen Dark get played like this. Hero will sometimes take series off of Dark, but that feels like Hero won a bar fight. Like, they both got really drunk, and Hero ended up, like, smashing a bottle and shivving Dark in the side. And Dark only realizing it 3 minutes later when he's bleeding out. Classic over here is just... he's bullying him. Look at that army. What is that? There are 26 Adepts in this economy? No, I'm sorry. 34 Adepts? Alright. When you have more Adepts than the average age of my viewers, well, that's when you know things are getting serious. It's beautiful. Uh-huh. Well, now we do have to see that bonus series, by the way. So, for those of you, like, wow, Dark turns it around. Looking at that timer. No! So, I wasn't sure whether we were going to check this, because I kind of thought it would be a Dark win. But Classic played Solar in the semifinals, and the games did not take that long. So another Protoss versus Zerg. And I'm going to spoil it for you. There are 2 games. I really want to know. Did he just do this against Solar too? Because that was 3-0 versus the GSL champion. Decisive victory. Not even close. So now we have Classic versus Solar. Same tournament, same day. Literally, like, the series before that. I'm reevaluating things here. Well, okay. I don't know how that... if he does it here, like, Dark and Solar are the best Zergs in Korea. Dark obviously, ranked #1 by all metrics, including the GSL champion. And then Solar, Serral's stunt double. He's even using the Serral portrait in-game, fun fact. Or is this one of those, like bipolar Protoss days where every Protoss in the top 20 can look like a genius approximately 38% of the time. Like, they have the best days of their career. Unfortunately, the next day is the worst one. Because Protoss does involve a lot of complicated, technical, and expensive parts. Alright? Because of the warp gate mechanic, the entire race is based on having high tech, high mobility, and high amounts of strength against very specific counters. And if you don't set things up right, I liken, which is just an objectively fun terminology, so let me start that sentence again. I liken Protoss to constructing a computer. No, that you can't really use old English and then say computer, but I just did. Sue me. Like and subscribe to unlock the terms and conditions. Where was I? I'm sorry. Oh yes, building a PC. If you do, like, there's not a lot of room for error. You can focus on other parts of it, but you need to have certain pieces. Okay, you might not need a CD drive. But you kind of need a processor. And you probably need a graphics card, which is like the Sentry, I guess, in this composition. Whereas Zerg is more like soup. Okay? You need liquid, which is the queens and the creep. And that's kind of disgusting, the more I think about that. And then you can throw a bunch of other stuff in there, but literally just broth works. Like, not great. Like, it's not great. Like, but you'll take what the queens give you and you'll like it. There's a Twilight. We're pretty much watching this. 1, as an anti-spoiler game. And 2, to see if Classic literally just, like, this is his strategy. It's all off of the same kind of trunk of builds. And he's not adding the forge. He's doing it. Yeah, he's playing this like a ladder. He must be dominating the other 2 Zergs on the ladder in the top 50. Not that Protoss needs any help in best of ones on the ladder, to be honest. That's always been the struggle, is Protoss winning a best of anything more than one. And there's the glaives. It's not the same flavor as we saw back in the day, though. This is not like the Neeb Adept glaives build. It's been adapted. But yes. But I think we can finally reminisce. Zest. For those who don't recognize that strong Protoss right there, I do realize just throwing that one up there may, to the uneducated, seem a bit odd. But, well, go to school. Look up Zest. Zest Winterstarcraft, more accurately, if you're looking for something to search. Not that the search function actually works on YouTube, but, you know. Oh, well, the Adepts. He doesn't have a Roach Warren. I did want to mention something. What I learned about the YouTubes as well. If you ever get a little survey on YouTube that has, like, the smiley faces. Remember back when YouTube had stars? Back in my day. Those are very helpful for me. I probably giving me more than... Oh, well. 0 out of 5 stars on that wall. Or I think they're smiley faces, because everything's in emojis, but... So the Adepts get in, and... well... So it's just the same thing. Except he has really nothing at the third. Oh, it's a disaster. So, it looks like Solar's response is almost exactly the same as Dark's, but worse. Which does summarize much of Solar's career. Oh my god. It's almost the same game, it's just... Oh no, not this again. Well, I don't know if the Adept Glaive... This feels like the natural progression, though. There's one more game, but yes, just one more, so that will spoil it for you, but whatever. So what's happened with the meta? What has happened is we've gone from Adept Glaives to Oracle Opener, which would then be followed up with Adept Glaives, to Oracle Opener followed up by Blink, to Oracle Opener followed up by like 4 or 5 Adepts with Blink. But now it seems like we've tilted all the way back to Oracle Opener with Mass Adepts. I don't say Lycan again. I am reminded of the meta in Terran versus Zerg as well. Kind of a similar thing. With like Hellbat all-ins and Roach all-ins, which Dark is all about, where it will just kind of swing to intense aggression as players get grittier and grittier. And then you start to realize, like Dark has realized against Maru, you can just hit them, all right? There's no sort of... They don't have like a magical defensive cannon that just shoots at you if you attack in the first 5 minutes. But at some point, like, players get a little bit greedier and get a little bit better at defending, and it feels like you can't really get damage done. And eventually, you get so far along the line and players get so comfortable in their greed that you just hit them. And it does damage and sometimes just kills them. And I feel like Classic has kind of cracked the code on that here. And we may be seeing a resurgence of the Adept Glaives, as I bet he does it again here. It's been 4 out of 4 games, and none of them have been close. Like, at least Dark, in the very first game when he was doing some counter aggression. Yeah, I'm in the full meta discussion as well now. Oh, I wanted to go back to the YouTube thing. But yeah, if you see those little reviews, I think they show up on mobile more than on PC. So you guys have phones though, so I don't know, smiley face and say it's great, something like that. Or if you don't think it is, just ignore it. That's always an option. I found that to be very true in the past. What was that? What was that shade? It's like, well, they said I ordered 1 shade. Yeah, but all right. Contractors. Well, so here on Ghost River, forcing the Zerg to take the 3rd base first opens up even more opportunity to get damage done. That's part of the reason why the probe comes across and does those annoying probe things, is to make sure that you just, like, it's to make sure the Zerg can't get comfortable. Can't get creep spread. It's hard to move between the bases. The queens get joint pain off creep. He's doing it again. Look at where he sets up his pylon. Hero! Don't take notes on the Oracle, but there's enough space for a gateway behind it. That's how you do it. Architectural mastermind over here. Classic has always been a great Protoss player, but he is one of those. And that's why he's the high-tech Protoss. He knows how to set things up. He has swings and consistency, like any other Protoss. We talked about this. But he will push the meta in dramatic ways. Even if those ways are... What? Don't just lose a second Oracle. Okay. Anyways, back to my memes. Sorry, we've gotten so off track on this cast, but after 365, it is kind of crazy. I've seen the calls of Well, you got a bunch of likes on this one. So why don't you increase it by like 5 or 10 or go up to 2,000 or something? What, you think I won't do this for 2 more years and get to 2,000? Be patient. It's just the same thing again. Stasis. Okay. All right. Like, it's just a bunch of adepts. And he throws the shade, and there's roaches on the way, but there's... Hello? Hello? Where are the units? There's nothing here. The drones are like, excuse me. Oh my god. It's a disaster. What is this, wall off solar? Take some notes from Classic over there. And a stasis in the main? Oh my god. It just gets worse. Huh. Well. I'm trying to come up with something profound, but Classic. 2-0 solar, 3-0 dark, not even close. So out of nowhere comes swinging in with the glaive adepts. I have no idea. Well, we're gonna have to keep track of things. But, well, thank you for watching. I hope it made your day a little bit better. Not the turn of events you might have expected loading in, but here we are. Thank you for a year. Well, technically 12 years, but at least 1 year of this particular sellout of likes and subscribes. And thank you. If you got the means of motivation, Patreon, YouTube membership, all that. I hope I make your days and your years just a little bit better. I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Good luck, have fun. Stay chill. Build some banelings.